campaign has been launched to stop mature trees being cut down in our cities. Stop the Chop is asking the government to include the protection of our urban forests in newly proposed legislation. Organiser Dr Mels Barton joins me now to discuss. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Stop the Chop. Quite a catchy phrase, that one, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Can we talk about Canal Road in Avondale very briefly? Because that was the scene of much protest over these trees. And are they all gone now?
Yes, they're all gone now. There were 46 mature natives, over 100 years old, some of them extremely rare trees, and they were planted by Mr Burgess as an arboretum. And they had no protection whatsoever. Because
they were on private land.
They were on private land.
Nothing we can do.
And the landowner wanted to sell them for development. Was worth 4.2 million, apparently, the property. And the person going to buy it, required the trees to be removed before they would buy it. So
they're gone.
They're gone.
And you're very sad about this. And you say this is because we're losing our urban forests.
We are losing our urban forests very quickly, and Canal Road is a really good example of that. And it's the big trees that we're losing because it's the race for space.
Okay.
And it's the big trees that are really important to us in the city.
What about the 32 whānau who get housing out of that bit of land?
Well, we can have both. That's the thing. We can have quality urban design and a sustainable urban forest. We just need to plan better and have better decision making.
It wouldn't be affordable, though, would it, for most people to plan houses around trees?
Sure. It's just about what rules that you have in your planning documents. You know, we have planning documents now that require you to plan around different things, but
it does make the process. It makes the process far more expensive, though, doesn't it? I guess what I'm saying is, at some point, you've got to choose: do we want our whānau living in homes or on the street? Do we want trees?
Do we want to be living in a concrete jungle without a blade of grass in sight, and increased flooding, increased heat in our cities, no shade? Is those the kind of living conditions that we want? Because when we've got wall-to-wall apartments and no trees in between, that's what we're going to be living in.
OK, well, let's challenge that assumption that we are losing, as you have claimed, we are losing our urban forests. That's what you said this morning. Phil Goff and Auckland Council say that since 2013, Auckland's urban forest canopy cover has increased by 60 hectares. That is 60 sports fields full of trees, 60 sports fields full of trees that you say isn't happening. So who's lying here?
Well, it's not a question of lying. It's that the devil's in the detail, of course, and it's about the structure of the urban forest. So we're losing the big trees and replacing them with saplings and bushes. That's what's going on. So the council's own report shows that we now have 75% of the urban forest that's less than 10 metres in height. We only have 6%, which is greater than 20 metres in height, and less than 1% that's greater than 30 metres in height. And it's those big trees that provide us with all the benefits and services that we need in a city.
What benefits and services are you talking about? Why should we be so worried about the big boys and girls as opposed to the wee ones that Phil's planting?
Well, I think everyone can see that you can't replace a Pohutakawa with 3 Gristolinia, and that you're not going to get the same amount of shade, you're not going to get the same amount of temperature reduction. A mature tree treats 16 cubic metres of stormwater per year, and on a day like today, where you've got really intense rainfall and flooding going on, if you've removed the number of trees that we've removed in the last 6 years, that's over 4.4 million cubic metres of water that you've now got to put in a pipe.
OK, that's quite interesting to hear. The shade thing, I mean, do we really need the shade? We're like, in Avondale, for example, they're building houses which provide their own shade, right?
Well, not really. As soon as you step outside the front door, you're in the sun, aren't you?
But we have little pergolas now, don't we?
Only if you've got a garden.
Well, these houses do.
How do you know?
Because they're townhouses.
Have you seen the plans for them?
They're townhouses.
Most of them don't have gardens, or they've got some tiny little piece of space, but it's not actually a garden and it doesn't have any trees in it.
So your message to Phil Goff this morning is what? Because Phil Goff's team have said, look, in the last term, he's planted 1 million trees. In this term, he's planting 1.5 million trees, and he's having photo ops left, right and centre. You're saying, Phil, you're planting the wrong trees.
No, it's not about not planting trees. Planting trees is great. It's just that if we take all the space for the large trees, then we'll never have any large trees again, because you can't retrofit large trees into concrete. So you have to protect the mature trees that we've got now in the city. Otherwise, all you're going to have is bushes, and bushes do not provide you with those benefits and services that we all need.
Okay, interesting. Do you know how many trees, big ones, we've got left in the city?
No, but I know that we've lost 250,000 of them over the last 6 years.
Okay. Mels, thank you very much for that. That is Stop the Chop spokesperson, Dr. Mels Barton, with quite a convincing argument, I thought. 22 minutes after 6 now. The news coming up in around 10 minutes.